on my channel and see if the audio is okay. All right. Appreciate it. So testing. All right, so we have to play with. All right, sweet, cool. So I'm glad that's working. All right, so try many of the options. Pay attention to what's happening on the screen. All right, so we're gonna hit run. So this is the way. All right, so when I type in to the quote box, it updates right here. All right, so I'm going to change my font, change the color, font size. Cool. So what it says is, so pay attention to what happens on the screen when you move the slider or choose an item from the drop down. So if I change my format or the font, notice that it updates automatically. I keep looking at the screen over here. One of the key things is, when does the screen actually update? So if I put a question mark, it's literally as soon as I type in the question mark, it automatically updates. So I know, Tasma, you're having an issue with the whole screen update kind of thing. So I'm thinking, yeah, in the next part of it here, we'll actually look at the code. So what happens if you choose lavender and Lucidia Sands? Okay, so try choosing light green and move the slider until you receive feedback. Okay. So if I choose lavender and Lucidia Sands. All right, so notice what happened. So down here, it says nice design, but when I choose lavender, it says great combo. And then try choosing light green and then moving the slider until you receive feedback. So I'm going to move the slider. Looking fresh. Cool. Joining your phone so you can multitask. Okay, cool. And you can also pull it up on my YouTube channel on your phone, so you can have technically two screens, so you can watch what I'm doing and while you're working. That might be beneficial for you guys. Okay, so if I choose light green and my font size reaches right here, it says looking fresh. So due to this last bullet point right here, we can kind of predict that there are two if statements, like if then, or if conditions. If it's light green and my font size is something like whatever this value is, it's going to output looking fresh in this text box. Cool. And then the lavender right here. So if is this value for the font and this color, then it's going to output great combo. Everything else, it's just going to output nice design. Cool. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So we want to build the Quote Maker app using your activity guide to help you plan. When you're done, submit your work. All right. So when I hit run, if I type, nothing happens. Right? So if I go back to this first one, let me pull up the PDF. Go back here. All right. Conditionals. Write your code. Okay. So you can go back to the second one and try to build the same thing. So let's figure out what we need to do. So right here where it says quote input, that's going to be taken as the user's input, and we're going to put it into quote output. So quote input is where we're getting stuff from the user, and then we're going to update it into the quote output. So first off, I want to have something that will update the screen. Cool. So where is, so set screen function. All right, let's start off with the function. So we'll say update screen. All right. So with update screen, there's going to be a couple things that we want to change about this screen. Okay. In particular, we want to change whatever is inside the quote output. So we need to set property of quote output. And then we have a whole bunch of different stuff in here. Okay. So we can change the text, we can change the width, the height, the position, X and Y, the text color, the background color, the font family, how the text is aligned, and all that kind of jazz. So what we want to do is we want to change the text to something. Okay. So what the text needs to be is whatever the quote that we type in is. Does that make sense? So the quote input, I need to take whatever that input is, and I need to save it as something, and then that's going to go in to right here. So this is what I'm going to put in as my variable. So whatever the person inputs, we're going to update the screen and set the quote output, this part right here, to whatever that person uses. So we'll set a variable, or we'll declare a variable, user text. Cool. And then in here, we won't do that yet. All right, so this is declaring user text. And in order to get user text, we have to get it from this part. So let's see what we can do. So there's get text, set text. What do you guys think we can do? Those are controls. Set property, set screen. What do y'all think? Get text, okay. So we're going to get text. So we're just going to set this down here for now. All right, so notice that when I pull this over, notice get text doesn't have a little bump on the bottom or the top, like set text, set number. So where can we get this? So on the event, I know this is kind of all over the place. So that's why we kind of want to try, come on. When it comes to this, this kind of like sets you up to, it kind of guides you. Are you guys able to access this on code.org, or does it say you need permission? That was from the first page, right here, the first section. Okay. All right. So user text, or what do they call it? They call it quote input. So we'll say user text for that. We'll say font and then font color. Font color. Font. All right. Now, let's try to figure out what happens. So if I go back here, like this, that other stuff will save. So when I hit run, hello. Cool. So whatever this text is, it's going to receive that text and output it there. So if I go back, if I hit run, all right, there's Tristan. Somebody raise a hand. Yeah, Tristan, I got you. Okay. Slide over just a tad. All right. So Tristan, what we're doing, we're on lesson 11 on unit 4, and we're trying to write code that will do the same thing as this app here. So section 2, this is what we're trying to emulate in section 3. So we have a function that will update the screen. That's not completed yet, but we know that there has to be an update screen function. We know that there's a user text that the person's going to put in. There's going to be the font, or let's say font type. So font type, font color, and then we'll have font size. Okay, so those are the 4 variables that we can modify. Now, when we type something in, so on the event, now it doesn't matter what order these are in at the moment. So on the event that, let's see, quote input, what do we have? Let's see what change does. And if we do update screen, okay. So when quote input changes, it's going to run this function. Cool. So if I want to set the quote output, which is this gray box here, I want to change the text to whatever user text is. Well, it's not letting me do it. Oh, I know why. Okay, so on the event that the quote input is changed, it's going to set, or hold on, I don't want to declare it. So I want to do user text And I want to set that to whatever the user inputs. So I'm going to get text from the quote input. Does that make sense? And this should user text. Does that make sense? So let's see if this part runs. Okay, so why is that not running? Oh, it's just running slow. Why was that? Okay, so every time that I do this, but it's waiting until I hit something else. It's not automatically updating. That's strange. All right, is everybody tracking so far? Does everybody make sense? Maybe I need update screen before and after. See what happens with that. Set property. It's weird. All right. I'm going to go and end the. Well, I guess you guys are still in the live stream. Okay. All right. So what do we do, guys? What do y'all think? Quote input. So when that changes, let's see. Clicked. All right. How about input? See what input does. Oh, look at that. So that's what it was. So when I was not, when it was, if I had it for change, that's comparing. So if I have E, R, T, so nothing is changing. So I'm inputting into the quote or into the quote input, but nothing changes on the screen while I'm typing. So nothing is changing. But then once I click on something, it's changed. So what we need to do is instead of the change, we're going to go over to input. So as soon as I input something, it'll run this on event. Cool. So, and all it's doing is it's setting user text equal to, and then getting the text from quote input. That's what this box is. That's what the ID is. Cool. Yes, Tasman. Okay. Does yours look just like mine? Okay. Like with capital letters and stuff like that too? Okay. So what you can do is a lot of the times code.org glitches out. So if you hit refresh or F5, I don't know if you all have F5 in the Chromebooks, but if you refresh the page, that might remedy that. Let me know if that helps. Okay. So right now, we've gotten the main part down. We've gotten the input from the user to update this part automatically. Cool. So that's the difficult part. Now, what we have to do is we have to get something that modifies the font, the color, and the font size. So, what we're going to have to do is on the event that, and what is this called? So, font family. So, font family input. When that is clicked, let's see. Yeah, when that's clicked, or no, because that's already, for some reason, that's already in there. So, whatever the font family. All right, how about this? When we update the screen, because that's going to be updated each time that I put something in. So if I go back to this one and I run it, so that updates. And then once I click on something, once I choose a font, notice that it's updating automatically as soon as I click it. So how can we mimic that? So on the event that font family input is clicked, we're going to set property of font size. So we're going to set the property of the quote output. We're going to change the font family Okay. So font type. So we're going to change the font type. And then we're going to get text. To font family input. So that's going to be the font type. And then we're going to set this to whatever font type is. And then we're going to update screen. Let's see what that does. So test. There we go. All right, so that changes the text or changes the font. So what I'm doing, I want to kind of run through this real quick. So essentially, what I'm doing is I am I've initialized or I haven't initialized. I've declared 4 different variables: the user text, the font type, the font color, and the font size. So there's going to be 4 different things that we need the program to understand. Like, if this is changed, we need to modify something somehow, and then we need to update the screen after that. So on the event that the quote input, this part here, on the event that something is input into this box, it needs to go to the quote output. And that's what I did here. So user text, this part right here is getting the input from the user and setting it equal to user text. And then user text is going to update by using the update screen function, which is what happens here. Cool. Then this is changing the font type. So font type, get text. So whatever text is chosen from the font family, so that's what the font family input is, it's going to set the quote output. So whatever is inside of here, it's going to change the font family of that output to whatever the font type that we selected. Cool. Now we're going to do the same thing with the font color. So on the event that color input, where's color output? That's weird. All right, so when color input it's clicked, and then I need to set my font color equal to whatever the text of the quote, the font color is. So color input. We'll just see how that works. And then I'm going to set my property of the quote output. I'm going to change the font color, so text color, to font color. All right, so that changes the color. Let's just test that. So test, change the font, making sure that's still working. All right, now the color, light blue, yellow, pink, lavender, green. Cool. So we've got the color input, we've got the text input. Oh wait, did that change the background or did it change the font? Change the background. Okay, never mind. All right, so that's easy. So instead of right, so instead of font color, we'll say background. All right, so we're changing the actual variable. So I made the mistake thinking that it was the font color. It's actually the background color. So background color is that third variable. And then color input, so that's what we're choosing here. Background color is going to be whatever color input is, and then this is going to be background color. Okay. So, and also instead of text color, background color. There we go. Uh-oh. That's weird. Oh. That's why. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Something's weird. There we go. All right, so what's different? Why is that so small? Look at that. Check this out. So if I click here, or if I stop running it, there's actually two boxes. There's quote output, but then there's color output. So all I have to do is switch the thing that I'm changing is to color output, because that'll change this. So there's actually this box here, this big gray box, and then there's actually one that's here for the quote, but it's the same color. It's transparent. So when I hit run and I choose a color, it now changes the entire thing. Does that make sense? So this is just a box, and then there's the text box on top of that. It's kind of hidden. So this is the quote output, but you notice once I go over a little too far, it switches over to color output. So all I did was I switched it from the quote output, which is where the text is, and I switched it to the color output. So that's the background. That's this whole gray part, because the quote output is transparent. There's no color. So it's just showing the color output through the text output. All right. So let's see how it works so far as a test. All right. All right, so that changes. That's good. So light blue, light yellow, lavender. So it looks good so far. And then now the last thing I need to do is change it with the font size. So let's see. So font size. So on the event, and then we got variable font size. So font size input. Whatever that input is. Change the variable of font size, and then we're going to get the text. Is it text? I don't know what number that is. So font size. Just say font size label. All right. So if you guys can't read what the ID is, this is line 19 is a UI string. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I was getting to talk about. So if you don't know what this is inputting, I'm assuming it's going to be a number. But if you can't read what the ID says because it's got the ellipses at the end, what you can do is if you click on design up here, it now goes into like the design mode. And then when you click on that object, then it says font size input. And then this is the font size label, I believe. Yeah. So this is the font size input. And if you look down here, it has a minimum value of 10, maximum value of 20. So what that's telling us is instead of get text, we need to use get number. Because this is modifying a number, whereas these ones are giving us text. So if we could do get number, and then after that, we're going to set property of the quote output, and we're going to change the font size to whatever the font size that we're changing. So font size. And then, of course, we have to wait. If I do I need to be calling these functions? Just out of curiosity. All right, so what I'm thinking is right now is whether or not I need to have the update screen inside the on event. So just as a test, let's see what happens if I remove the update screens. Now, it gives me an error saying that I haven't called it yet. So let's go ahead and call this at the very end. So we'll say update screen. And this is the last line of code. You don't think so because your color doesn't have it. Yeah, that's what I was looking at because I was doing that. Oh, so notice that it's not updating here. So it looks like I need to have it at minimum under the quote input. So I'm going to put update screen. So as I put stuff in, so that's good. Okay. So yeah. So what's happening is as I'm typing things, I want the screen to update what I'm typing. But then after I complete this on event, it'll continue on with my code. It'll skip over that. It'll skip over that. And then it'll update my screen. Set property parameter user text. Let's just see how this works. Cool. Yeah, looks like I don't even need it at all. Because, okay, that's why. So the only thing that it needs to update the screen is when I'm typing stuff in. But then when I'm doing this, it already updates. So I don't need to call the update screen function. It automatically does that. Does that make sense? Okay. So lastly, the font size input. Get numbers, set properties. So quote output font size to whatever font size is. All right. So that should be. Uh-oh. All right. So I'm running into an error. So line 18. Get number ID refers to an ID that does not exist. Interesting. So how about when we change? See if we run into that error again. Oh, I'm dumb. So get number, I need to set where I'm getting the number from. So font size input. How about that? That makes a lot more sense. There. That's better. And then change the font. Change the color. Change the size. Does that make sense? And then the last thing is we need to have something be down here for your font won't change. Okay, so when it comes to your font, so font size, so it should be this on event here, and I have it for font size input, so that's gonna be this thing here, and then I have it for change because I had it for input, but it let me see. Let's see if input helps. Clicked. Yeah, let me put on input and see how that modifies it. You had font size input instead of family. What do you mean? Oh, you had font family instead of font size. Oh, for line. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's the font type. All right. So now we need to. Okay. So the very last part, we want to create a condition where if we choose lavender and the Lucia Sands, then we want it to do something. So Lucia Sands, Lucidia Sands, and then lavender. We want it to type out great combo. Okay. So if I switch back, we want the feedback. Let's see what that actually is. So feedback output. So that's what the ID is, feedback output. So we want the feedback output to say something. Would that be an if else input thing? Yes. So what we're going to do is make some space. Shiplocks. Okay. So we're going to input an if else statement. So if font family and we want the and. So if font type equals, so font type equals, oh wait, equals, what was it, lavender? Or no, Lucidia Sands. Lucidia. So if the font type equals Lucidia Sands, I think I spelled that right, and the color input or what do we call it? The background color. So if the background color equals lavender, and it needs to be capitalized. So if the font type is equal to Lucidia Sands and the background color is equal to lavender, I want to set the property of the feedback output and set the text to, what was it? Great job. I'm going to type in it worked. Need the second quote. Oh, I thought I put that in there. Sorry. There we go. All right. So if I choose Lucidia Sands and the background color is lavender, it should say it worked down here. So this, oh, I didn't type it right. Lucida. Come on. Oops, what'd I do? All right, so we'll say test. Uh-oh. Why isn't that updating? Something happened. Well, oh, it was just one of those things where I had to refresh. Okay. All right, let's try this again. So if I want to do all that again. Dang it. bear with me. All right, so if I put the and in there, put the equals, equals. So if font type equals sans, and then background color equals lavender, then I want to set property feedback output, set the text to we did it. Okay. So that's working. I want to choose sans and then lavender. Is it hidden? It's not hidden. Okay, did I type it right? IDA, that's why. And then maybe update screen. That's about lavender. Oh, lavender is lowercase. Please work. That's spelled right. That's right. The update screen doesn't do anything. Let's see. It might be because I didn't put the else. Let me refresh. See if that works. It says background hasn't been declared yet. Okay. So in the beginning, this was font color. So I initially declared this as font color, but I didn't realize that it was changing the background color. I had a brain fart. So go back up to line 3 and see if it says background color or font color. Darius, if I put else, it only uses that. Okay. Yeah, so Font type. Yeah, so this condition for some reason is not working. Don't know why. So how about this? How about we just keep this part. Let's see. Oops. Let's do this. Else if background color equals lavender, set property. So let's try to figure out why this isn't working. So what I'm doing is I'm seeing if this part, the background color equals lavender, I'm seeing if that part works. So if that works, then it should set the property of the feedback output. It's going to change the text to color worked. Okay. And then everything else, set the property of that, set the text to oops. Okay. Yeah, so by default, it should be oops. All right, so if I change it to lavender, all right, so that one doesn't work. If I spell lavender right, lavender is good. Background color, get text, color input. So maybe if I do color input, if color input is lavender, nope, that doesn't work. Maybe if I put in quotes. Not sure why that's not working. Color input. How about we do, let's see if this works. Quote input. How about that? I'm going to test something. Quote output. So if this works, if the if statement works, Might have to pick this up on Friday because we're getting kind of close to time. I don't know why it's not working. Font type. So it's getting text. So font family input. It's Lucia Sans. I don't know why. Trying to because these are text inputs. How about this? Let's try one more. Let's do this down. We'll say else if font size. So as of right now, font size input. So if I hit run, what is font size? Okay, so if font size equals 22, so this one I know will work. Wait. Oh my god. I know what it is. So, because there's no text down here, instead of set property, we need to set text. That's why. All right, let's do this. I'm really hoping that's what it is. So, color input, font type. Move this up here. All right, so if the font type is that and the color input is that, I need to set text of the feedback output. To that. Okay. And else, I'm going to set it feedback output to just text. Okay, so if I hit reset and I hit run, it says text. Cool. So that part works. Now, if I do that, lavender. Son of a... Font size. Equals 22. I'm going to set text of this to FontWorks. Okay. Okay. So that's what's different. So I just need some way to change that. Why is that not working? Okay, we'll pick this up on Friday. I'm going to close out the